Beneath Australia's breathtaking landscapes lie dark secrets that refuse to stay buried. From haunted prisons and ghostly theaters to cursed caves and restless asylums, these places are not just rich in history, they're alive with whispers from the past. Dare to step into the shadows and uncover the chilling true stories of Australia's most haunted places, if you're brave enough to continue. Help us reach our first 100 brave subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. Be part of our ghost hunting crew from the very beginning. This is just the start of something truly chilling. 1 Monte Cristo Homestead, New South Wales. Monte Cristo Homestead is often called the most haunted house in Australia. It is located in Junee, a small town in New South Wales. This two-story mansion was built in 1885 by a wealthy farmer named Christopher William Crawley. The house stands on a hill, and from the outside, it looks grand and beautiful. But behind its walls are many dark and tragic stories that have given it a terrifying reputation over the years. The Crawley family lived in Monte Cristo for many decades. After Christopher died in 1910, his wife Elizabeth rarely left the house. People say she became very strict and treated the staff and servants harshly. She even had a maid who fell from the balcony and died. Some believe she was pushed, though it was never proven. Another servant, a stable boy, was burned to death in the stables. There was also a mentally ill man kept locked in a small room for years. He was found chained up after the Crawleys were long gone. Many visitors and caretakers have claimed to see ghosts or feel strange things inside the house. Some report seeing a woman dressed in black, believed to be Elizabeth Crawley, walking through the hallways or standing at the windows. Others say they hear footsteps, voices, or feel sudden cold spots, even when the weather is warm. Lights turn on and off by themselves, and items are said to move without anyone touching them. A young boy was once pushed down the stairs by something unseen, and others have run out of the house in fear. In the 1960s, the homestead was bought by the Ryan family, who turned it into a museum. They still own it today and offer ghost tours to the public. The Ryans also experienced many strange and scary things. One of them said they were pushed by an invisible force. Their animals were found dead under strange conditions. Despite the fear, the Ryans have kept the house open, and it has become a popular spot for ghost hunters and tourists interested in the paranormal. Everything that has happened at Monte Cristo Homestead is based on real reports by people who lived there or visited. The stories are not just old legends, but experiences shared by many different people over time. Some believe these ghosts are trapped souls who suffered or died in pain. Others think the energy of the house keeps their memories alive. Whether or not you believe in ghosts, there is no doubt that Monte Cristo is a place full of mystery, sadness, and fear. Today, it is one of the most talked about haunted places in Australia. People from all over the world visit to see if the stories are true. Many leave convinced that something truly strange is going on inside that beautiful but chilling old house. 2 Airedale Asylum, Victoria. Airedale Asylum is one of the most haunted places in Australia. It is located in Ararat, a town in the state of Victoria. This massive building was once a hospital for people with mental illness. It opened in 1867 and was known as the Ararat Lunatic Asylum. At its peak, it held over 1,000 patients. The asylum operated for more than 130 years before closing in 1998. Over those long years, many sad and frightening events happened inside its walls. The asylum was built during a time when mental health care was very different from today. Many people who were sent there were not actually mentally ill. Some were just poor, homeless, or had other problems society didn't understand. Once inside, it was very hard to leave. Patients were treated with early and often painful methods, like electroshock therapy, isolation, and even lobotomies. Many patients died in the hospital, and it is said that over 13,000 people may have passed away there. Because of all the pain and suffering that took place there, many believe the spirits of former patients still haunt the building. People who have visited Airedale report seeing shadowy figures, hearing screams, and feeling cold drafts even when all the windows are closed. One of the most talked about areas is the surgery room, where some say they have heard whispers and felt like they were being watched. Others report sudden feelings of sadness, dizziness, or fear when entering certain parts of the building. One of the spirits believed to haunt Airedale is Nurse Carrie. She was a strict and powerful nurse who worked there for many years. Visitors say they have seen a woman in an old-fashioned nurse's uniform walking the hallways or standing near the stairs. Some have felt an invisible presence brushing past them or touching their shoulder when no one was around. There are also reports of ghostly children playing and laughing in the old children's wing, even though no children have lived there for decades. After the asylum closed in 1998, it remained empty for some time before ghost tours began. Now, brave visitors can take nighttime tours to explore the dark, creepy hallways and hear the real stories of what happened inside. Many people leave the tours shaken, saying they felt things they couldn't explain. Ghost hunters and paranormal investigators have also visited and captured strange images, sounds, and readings with their equipment. Everything said about Airedale is based on true history and the real experiences of those who have worked or visited there. The pain and fear that lived inside those walls for more than a century still seem to echo today. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the tragic history and chilling stories of Airedale Asylum make it one of the most disturbing and mysterious places in Australia. 3 Beechworth Asylum, Victoria. Beechworth Asylum, also known as Mayday Hills Lunatic Asylum, is one of the most haunted places in Australia. It is located in Beechworth, a quiet town in Victoria. The asylum opened in 1867 and was used as a mental hospital for over 120 years before it closed in 1995. It was one of the largest asylums in the country, housing thousands of patients over the years. The building is big, with many rooms, long hallways, and high ceilings, which makes it feel cold and eerie even during the day. In the past, mental health was not well understood. Many people were sent to the asylum for reasons that would not be considered mental illness today. Women were often admitted by their husbands for behaving in ways society didn't like. Some people were kept inside for the rest of their lives, even if they didn't need to be there. Once a person was admitted, it was very difficult for them to leave, especially if no one from their family came to help. Over 9,000 people are believed to have died at Beechworth Asylum. Many of them were buried in unmarked graves in nearby grounds. There are stories of patients being mistreated, locked away in isolation rooms, and given painful treatments like electric shocks. Staff also worked under tough and stressful conditions, which sometimes led to harsh behavior. The sad and painful history of this place has left behind a dark energy that many believe still lingers. People who visit the asylum today often say they feel strange things. Some have heard whispering voices, doors slamming on their own, or seen figures moving in the shadows. One common story is about a spirit called Tommy, a former patient who spent most of his life there. Visitors say they feel his presence near certain rooms, especially around the old kitchen area. There are also reports of a woman's ghost who appears near the windows of the hospital, crying silently as if she is still trapped there. Beechworth Asylum is now open to the public for historical and ghost tours. The night tours are especially popular with people interested in the paranormal. Tour guides share true stories from the asylum's past, and many guests say they experience cold spots, strange sounds, and an overwhelming feeling of sadness. Some have even caught ghostly figures on camera or seen lights flicker for no reason. All the stories from Beechworth are based on real events and witness accounts. The long history of suffering and fear has turned this place into one of the most famous haunted spots in Australia. Whether someone believes in ghosts or not, it's hard to ignore the strange feeling that hangs in the air when walking through the old halls of Beechworth Asylum. For Port Arthur, Tasmania. Port Arthur is one of the most haunted places in Australia. It is located in Tasmania and was once a prison for some of the worst criminals in the 1800s. The prison started in 1833 and became one of the hardest and most feared places in the country. It was built to keep prisoners under control using strict rules and harsh punishments. Many men who were sent there were already broken, and life inside made things worse. The area was very isolated, surrounded by water and thick forest, so escaping was nearly impossible. The prison used strange methods to break people's spirits. One of the most frightening parts was the separate prison, where inmates were kept alone in small cells for 23 hours a day. They were not allowed to talk, see others, or even hear noises. This often led to mental illness. Some prisoners went mad from the silence and darkness. Even those who were strong started to feel hopeless and scared. Many died there from disease, punishment, or suicide. Over the years, thousands of prisoners lived and died at Port Arthur. There are records of murders, beatings, and ghost stories dating back to the time it was still active. People who work there and visit today often report strange experiences. They hear crying, footsteps, whispers, or see figures that vanish quickly. One common sighting is a small boy who is believed to have died there. Others have seen dark shadows or felt as if someone is watching them, especially in the old cells or the asylum building. Another dark part of Port Arthur's history happened in 1996. A gunman attacked the site and killed 35 people, making it one of the worst mass shootings in modern Australian history. That tragic event added even more sadness to the place. Many say the energy there changed forever after that day. Even people who don't believe in ghosts say the site feels heavy and emotional. Today, Port Arthur is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a popular tourist destination. It looks peaceful, with old stone buildings and green gardens, but the stories are still there. People can take historical tours during the day and ghost tours at night. Guides share real stories about the prisoners, the guards, and the haunted buildings. Some visitors have fainted or left the tours early because they felt overwhelmed or scared. Everything at Port Arthur is based on real history. The pain, fear, and loss from both the convict times and the modern tragedy still seem to be felt in the air. Whether it's haunted by ghosts or just by its sad past, Port Arthur remains one of the most powerful and chilling places in Australia. 5 Fremantle Arts Centre, Old Lunatic Asylum, Western Australia. The Fremantle Arts Centre in Western Australia is one of the most haunted places in the country. It is located in the port city of Fremantle, near Perth. Today, it looks like a beautiful old building where people go to enjoy music, art, and community events. But in the past, it was a very different place. The building was first opened in 1864 as the Fremantle Lunatic Asylum. It was one of the first hospitals in Western Australia made for people with mental illness, and many terrible things happened there. In the 1800s, people who were considered mentally unwell were treated very poorly. Many were locked away simply because they were different or had no family to care for them. Inside the asylum, patients were often tied up, kept in small rooms, and given no real medical care. There were reports of violence, abuse, and neglect. Some people died from illness, others from injuries, and some are believed to have taken their own lives. The treatment was harsh, and the place became known for suffering and sadness. As the years went on, the building was used for different things. After it stopped being an asylum in the early 1900s, it became a women's shelter, a naval base during World War II, and later a school. In the 1970s, it was turned into the Fremantle Arts Centre. But even after all the changes, many people still feel a strange and spooky energy inside. There are many stories of ghost sightings in the building. Staff, visitors, and even artists have reported hearing footsteps in empty hallways, feeling cold chills, or seeing doors open and close on their own. Some people say they hear crying or whispering when no one else is around. One of the most commonly reported ghosts is a woman dressed in old-style clothing, believed to be a former patient. She is often seen near the staircase or looking out of windows. People who work at the center say they sometimes feel like they are being watched, even when they are alone. Some musicians and performers have said they felt nervous or uncomfortable on stage, as if someone was nearby. Paranormal investigators have visited the site and claim to find unexplained movements, sounds, and changes in temperature. Although it is now a place for creativity and culture, the past of the Fremantle Arts Centre cannot be forgotten. The pain and fear experienced by so many people long ago seem to have left a mark on the building. Everything that has been reported is based on real history and real experiences from people who have visited or worked there. Whether it is truly haunted or just full of emotional memories, the Fremantle Arts Centre remains one of the most mysterious and haunted locations in Australia. 6. The Princess Theatre, Melbourne. The Princess Theatre in Melbourne is one of the oldest and most famous theatres in Australia. It is also believed to be one of the most haunted. The theatre first opened in 1854 and has been rebuilt and changed several times over the years. Today, it is known for hosting big musicals and stage shows, but behind the beauty of the theatre is a spooky history that still gives people chills. One of the most well-known ghost stories at the Princess Theatre is about a man named Frederick Federici. He was an opera singer who performed at the theatre in the 1880s. In 1888, he was playing the role of Mephistopheles in the opera Faust. At the end of the show, his character was supposed to be pulled down below the stage through a trapdoor. On the night of the performance, Federici completed the scene perfectly, but just moments later, he collapsed from a heart attack and died below the stage. What makes the story strange is that the other actors and crew said he came back on stage during the final bow. They said he was smiling and looked calm. No one knew he had died until later. Since then, many people have claimed to see Federici's ghost at the theatre. He is often described as wearing a tuxedo or opera costume and standing in the back rows or watching from the dress circle. Some believe his spirit still returns to take a bow after every show. Over the years, staff, actors, and guests have shared strange experiences. People say they feel sudden cold spots, hear footsteps when no one is there, or feel like someone is watching them. Some have even said they saw a figure vanish into thin air. One common sighting is a man's shadowy figure near the stage or the dressing rooms. Others have reported lights turning on and off by themselves or hearing music when the theater is empty. Despite all these spooky stories, most people believe the ghost of Federici is friendly and peaceful. Some actors say they feel comforted by his presence and believe he brings good luck to the shows. There's even a tradition at the theater where they keep one seat empty in the dress circle during every opening night performance, just for Federici. The Princess Theatre is still active and draws large crowds for its performances. But its haunted past is part of what makes it so special. Everything about the ghost stories comes from real events and experiences shared over many years. Whether someone believes in ghosts or not, it is hard to deny that the Princess Theatre holds more than just memories of great performances. It may also hold the spirit of a performer who never really left the stage. 7. The Old Melbourne Jail, Victoria. The Old Melbourne Jail is one of the most haunted places in Australia. It was built in the mid-1800s and was used as a prison until 1929. The building is located in the heart of Melbourne and still stands today as a museum. During its time as a prison, it held some of the most dangerous criminals in the country. More than 130 people were executed there, including the famous bushranger Ned Kelly. Many of those who died were hanged, and some were buried on the prison grounds. Life inside the jail was very hard. Prisoners were kept in small, dark cells with almost no light. They had very little to eat and were not allowed to speak. Some prisoners were kept in chains or locked in solitary confinement for days or weeks. Many people died from sickness, poor treatment, or the hangings. It was a place full of fear, pain, and death. Because of this, many believe that the souls of those who died there never left. Visitors and staff at the Old Melbourne Jail have reported many strange and scary experiences. Some say they hear footsteps when no one is around, doors creaking open by themselves, or voices whispering in the dark. Others have felt cold spots, sudden shivers, or the feeling of being touched by something invisible. Some people even say they have seen ghostly figures in the cells or shadows moving along the walls. One of the most well-known spirits believed to haunt the jail is that of Ned Kelly. He was hanged there in 1880 after being found guilty of murder. Many visitors say they feel a heavy, sad energy near the spot where he died. Others have claimed to see his ghost or hear his name whispered in the dark. There are also reports of a woman's ghost who cries out from one of the cells. She is believed to be a prisoner who died in great sorrow. Today, the old Melbourne jail is open to the public as a museum. People can learn about its history, walk through the old cells, and even take ghost tours at night. These tours are very popular, and many guests say they feel very scared or uneasy during the experience. Some have even left the tour early because they were too frightened to continue. All the stories about the jail are based on real history and real experiences. The building still looks almost the same as it did when it was a working prison. Whether or not someone believes in ghosts, the feeling of sadness and fear still hangs in the air. The old Melbourne jail is not just a place of history, it is a place where the past refuses to stay silent. 8. The Rocks, Sydney. The Rocks is one of the oldest parts of Sydney, and it is known as one of the most haunted areas in Australia. Located near the Sydney Harbour, the Rocks is full of narrow streets, old buildings, and hidden laneways. It has a long and sometimes dark history that goes back to the time when the British first arrived in Australia. In the early days, it was a place where convicts, sailors, and poor families lived. Life was hard, and the streets were full of crime, disease, and death. Many of the buildings in the Rocks were built by convicts using stone from the local area. Over time, the neighborhood grew, but it was always known as rough and dangerous. There were many deaths from violence, accidents, and illness. During the 1800s, outbreaks of smallpox and the bubonic plague killed many people who lived there. Some people believe the spirits of those who died in pain or fear still remain. Today, the Rocks is a popular tourist area with shops, restaurants, and museums, but many visitors and locals say it is haunted. People have reported seeing shadowy figures, hearing strange footsteps, or feeling someone following them even when the streets are empty. Others say they have seen old-fashioned figures dressed in clothes from the 1800s who disappear when approached. Some buildings have lights that flicker for no reason or doors that open and close on their own. One of the most famous ghost stories is about a woman named Anne. She was believed to be a widow who lost her children to sickness and later died in one of the old houses. Visitors say they have seen her ghost near the place where she once lived, often crying or calling out for her children. Another ghost often talked about is a man in a long coat and hat who walks along the old alleys late at night and then vanishes into the dark. There are ghost tours held in the Rocks almost every night. Tour guides take people through the oldest streets and tell true stories of murders, hauntings, and strange events. Many of the stories are based on real records and eyewitness accounts. Guests on the tours have often said they feel cold spots, hear whispers, or see shadows out of the corner of their eyes. Some even capture strange things in photos. The Rocks may look beautiful and peaceful today, but its dark past is still felt by many. All the stories and reports are connected to real people and real history. Whether or not someone believes in ghosts, it is clear that the Rocks holds many secrets from the past. It remains one of the most mysterious and haunted places in Australia. 9. National Film and Sound Archive, Canberra. The National Film and Sound Archive in Canberra is known as one of the most haunted buildings in Australia. Today, it is a place where people go to learn about Australian movies, TV, music, and history. It holds thousands of important recordings, films, and photographs. But before it became the National Film and Sound Archive, the building had a very different purpose. It was originally the Australian Institute of Anatomy, where human body parts were stored and studied. The building opened in the 1930s and was used to keep body samples, including bones, organs, and even entire skeletons. Some of these belonged to important people, like famous bushranger Ned Kelly and Aboriginal leaders. Scientists worked in the building to study the human body. Many people believe that because of this dark history, the building has a strong and strange energy. Some say it never lost the feeling of death and discomfort from its early days. Over the years, staff and visitors have reported many ghostly experiences. People say they hear footsteps in empty hallways, whispers in quiet rooms, and sudden knocks or bangs with no clear source. Others have felt cold spots or a strong feeling of being watched. Some staff members have even refused to go into certain rooms alone because they felt too scared or uneasy. One area, the lower level, is especially known for strange noises and cold air. There is a story about a ghostly figure dressed in white who appears in the old theater section. People say she floats silently through the rows of seats and disappears through walls. Others have spoken of shadow figures seen moving quickly from one corner to another, only to vanish when followed. Some cleaners have quit their jobs after seeing or hearing things they couldn't explain. Paranormal investigators have visited the building and recorded strange sounds, temperature drops, and unexplained energy levels. Even though it is now a place of culture and learning, the building still feels connected to its past. Many people believe that the spirits of those who were studied or handled in the Anatomy Museum may still be present. Some think these spirits are trying to be remembered or are simply stuck in a place where they never felt peace. The National Film and Sound Archive has embraced its haunted reputation. They sometimes host ghost tours and paranormal events, where people can explore the building and learn about its past. These tours are based on real stories and real experiences shared by staff and visitors over many years. Even though the building now celebrates Australian creativity, the ghost stories remind us that its history is full of mystery and sadness. Whether someone believes in ghosts or not, many agree that there is something very strange and powerful about this historic place. 10 Jenolan Caves, New South Wales. The Jenolan Caves in New South Wales are one of the most beautiful natural places in Australia, but they are also believed to be one of the most haunted. These caves are more than 340 million years old and are made up of many underground tunnels, chambers, and limestone formations. People have been visiting the caves for over 150 years, and they are a popular tourist destination. While most people go there to see the amazing rock formations, many also talk about strange and ghostly experiences deep inside the caves. Before European settlers arrived, the caves were known to the Gundungurra people, the local Aboriginal group. They considered the caves to be sacred and full of spiritual power. The Aboriginal stories speak of the caves as places where powerful spirits lived. These stories have been passed down through generations and are still respected today. In the late 1800s, the caves became more widely known, and guides began taking people inside to explore. Over the years, there were several accidents, and some people lost their lives inside the caves. One of the most well-known stories is about a ghost named James, a former cave guide who is believed to still walk the tunnels. Visitors and staff have reported seeing a man in old-style clothing who suddenly disappears. Others say they hear footsteps behind them or feel cold winds even when there is no breeze underground. Some guests have said they heard voices whispering their names or strange music coming from the darkness. Lights sometimes flicker, and people have reported camera batteries draining quickly inside the caves. One of the most haunted spots is the Lucinda Cave, where some believe the ghost of a young girl appears, sitting quietly on a rock. Many say they feel a heavy or sad energy in that part of the cave. Tour guides who work there have their own stories. Some say they hear footsteps following them during quiet tours or feel someone touch their shoulder when no one is behind them. Even though they are used to the caves, many guides admit that certain parts feel colder and scarier than others, and some refuse to go into those sections alone. Despite these spooky stories, the Jenolan Caves continue to be a popular and important natural site. People come from all over the world to see their beauty and mystery. Ghost tours are also offered for those who want to explore the darker side of the caves. These tours are based on real reports and events that have happened over many years. Everything said about the hauntings at Jenolan Caves comes from real stories, experiences, and Aboriginal legends. Whether someone believes in ghosts or not, the caves are a place where the natural world and the spirit world seem to meet, creating an experience that is both beautiful and deeply mysterious.